back, you know, we do this all the time, you know. So it's time, like, we're best friends now.
You guys both look mountain metal as fuck.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I love it.
Jamie in his spirit is a mountain man, you know, like the grizzly beard and everything. And I think in a former life, I think he was, you know, climbing mountains and fighting bears and stuff like that, you know.
True story.
There's a bear claw necklace right there.
Awesome, dude.
Killed this bear with my bare hand. This is my left hand. This is my bare hand. This same bare hand has smacked a few bare asses.
Dude, I love it. I love it.
I wouldn't even bother with an intro. I think we just go straight into it because, like, we don't want to just that moment there with the bare hand.
That's it.
Yeah.
I will just say though, thank you for joining us, Tombstone Jesus. This is dude. This is a thrill, an absolute thrill. It really is. Thank
you, brothers.
You're in the mountains, dude, as well. I mean, that must be so cool. I would give anything to be in the mountains right now.
You know, I love it. I actually am in the desert right now.
Oh, really?
Yep. I'm down in the desert. I like to stay down in the desert this time of year. And so it's about, you know, it don't snow so much. And I can get my running in and get my outdoors in. And so I do. I love the desert. I'm actually about 2 hours outside of Las Vegas.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I was looking at the map of America actually, just to kind of get the geography right. And you're just north of, is it New Mexico? Utah's north of New Mexico. Is that right?
Yeah, we're north of Arizona, north of New Mexico, and like I say, I'm just Utah. I'm on the very southern tip. It's where I live now. I was born and raised up in the mountains. I'm from Provo Canyon. Right. And anyways, I'm residing down in the desert nowadays, and we love it here. So.
You're living the life I want to live, dude. You really are. I mean,
it's strange to kind of live in a country which is so developed but has so much desert, you know, because we literally don't have a single bit of desert here in England. We've got a few beaches,
right,
so we have the tiniest amount of sand, you know. But like it's you know, it's just so
strange.
The
air's really dry here too, and we like it. It's nice.
Well, I do know, obviously, Rivers, we were talking earlier, weren't we, that we're going to try and hit Utah up next year, aren't we? Because we're doing the whole WrestleMania thing in Texas, so we're going to try and hit Utah.
It's one of the most beautiful places in the country right here. Zion's National Park. If you guys want to Google that, I'm about an hour from Zion's, and it is God's country, boy. It is beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, dude! If we hit Utah, dude, we're coming to see you, man. Believe me.
Yeah, catch me, and try and catch some matches. If you've got some kind of if you've got some shows going on, we'll try and catch those as well.
Always got something going on. Always.
Excellent.
You and me are gonna have to jam, though, River.
Absolutely, yeah. That's part of the reason why I want to come across, man. Is have a little bit of a jam, you know. Jump on stage with your band, you know. We'll get some jamming going, you know.
Hell yeah.
As long as it's 12-bar blues. You know, I'll be fine as long as it's in my wheelhouse. You know, like you know, if it's 3 chords and a pentatonic scale, I'm there. You know,
that's pretty much mountain metal right there.
Yeah,
my band's Leonard Skinner meets Motorhead.
Yeah, I love him.
Mountain metal, that's my genre, man. I invented it. So.
Well, I mean, Lemmy's my hero, man. So I mean, you're winning me over straight away.
Yeah.
I did listen to it a bit earlier, and you guys are awesome. I was checking it out on YouTube, and awesome, dude. It absolutely blew me away. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting it, and then when it started playing, I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. So
what it reminded me of, it's like if Creedence Clearwater Revival were on steroids and were bench pressing mountains, like that's kind of like what it reminded me of, you know? So like,
I am the mountain metal messiah. So.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. But hey, we'll talk some wrestling as well, because I'm fascinated
by the wrestling, boys. Let's talk wrestling. That's what got us here, right?
Hell yeah, man. I'm fascinated by the genesis of Tombstone Jesus. Tell me about him.
Well, Tombstone Jesus is basically that guy in a small town who can basically the badass who can kick everyone's ass. Only that small town is planet fucking Earth, you know?
Hell yeah.
So That's it. I'm pretty much, you know, I've been compared to Chuck Norris or wrestling.
Oh, well, I mean, I dare say Chuck Norris would fear you. You know, I'm gonna.
Chuck Norris ain't
be
got
honest.
shit on Tombstone Jesus. That's what I've
You know, you're the guy Chuck Norris is scared of, right? It's official.
Chuck Norris, never heard of her.
I'll take it. I'll take it. But no, goddamn, we love Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
But hey, guys, you know, what you see is what you get with Tombstone. That Tombstone Jesus, that video everybody saw on Twitter. Hey, that's just a guy walking in a building on the way, saying hi to a few people on the way to kick somebody's ass, you know. And that's it. There's no frills. There's no gimmick. You get what you see. That's Tombstone Jesus. And
that's what I really appreciate about your gimmick, is that it reminds me of like old school 80s, 90s wrestlers, you know, where there wasn't all the kind of frills and the packaging. And it's just, I love a good kind of Steve Austin type redneck character, you know. I think it's just...
that's what I grew up on, you know. I'm 50 years in mortal years, but I age in badass years. And in badass years, I'm 23 years old. I'm just peaking right now. And being 50 years old, I was able to watch Ric Flair. I got to see Hulk Hogan when he first came out. The Macho Man, Randy Savage. These are the wrestlers that inspired Tombstone Jesus. This is how Tombstone Jesus learned what was right and what was wrong as a child. You know, his comic books and wrestling. And for me, you know, there was probably, you know, you go and you look up Ric Flair like 1980.
Yeah.
1981, 1982, 1979. We'll see the biggest stud ever to walk the planet, you know. And that's a guy that I seen when I turned on my TV. And the first time I saw Hulk Hogan, you know, it was AWA. He had his back to the camera. He didn't even turn around like the first interview. Mean Gene's there, you know, here's this mountain of a man.
Yeah.
And I'm yelling to my dad, get down here, get down here. I'm watching on a little black and white TV, you know, on the basement. My dad comes running down. He's busy. What? I'm like, look at this guy, Dad. And he's like, that's a big dude. And I'm like, how do you get that big? And he says, you lift weights. And I'm like dumbbells? And he says, yep. And I says, well, that's what I want for Christmas. And so Christmas was like 2 months away. And he's like, you want a weight set? And I says, yep. I was probably about 10 years old.
I was going to say, 1980, you'd be 10 years old. Lifting weights at 10 years old.
He bought me that weight set, and I think I outgrew it in about 2 weeks. I shit you not. And my dad's like, hey, you're serious. And so he took me into the city and had me like a custom bench made. And it was set up to where I started out, for Christmas, I got my bench and I got my bar and some steel weights. And then for my birthday's in June, I could get this leg attachment. So this thing was set up so I could build on it. So next birthday comes around, I get my leg attachment. And then come Christmas again, I got the squat rack attachment and like a dip attachment. And then the very next birthday, there's a preacher curl deal I hooked up to it. And I had that damn weight set most of my life, you know, but I finally had to get rid of it. I just couldn't drag it around anymore. I was always joining gyms, but it's been up in the mountains a few times when there wasn't a gym.
You're making me feel lazy, man, because when I was 10 years old, it was 1989, and the Tim Burton Batman movie was all the rage. So I had like a few Batman figures, you know, for that Christmas. No weights, you know. I didn't really start lifting weights until, you know, I don't know, my mid-20s, you know. And
oh, hey, you know, that was it. Comic books, too. That was my Bible. You know, and that's really where I learned my morals as a kid. I felt like reading comic books, man, in the 70s.
Yeah.
And when I saw pro wrestling, that was the first time I saw real life superhuman heroes, real life men with muscles. It wasn't just drawn on.
No.
You know, I remember seeing Ken Patera and just going, wow.
He was huge, yeah.
Superstar Billy Graham, god damn, that's what I was, truly inspired as a kid. And watching wrestling growing up in the 80s, hey, wrestlers were larger than life. They really were. I mean, it was a special time, and I feel like I'm a better person from being influenced during that time period, by the wrestlers that I was. And definitely that's what's, made me become Tombstone Jesus,
So from the age of 10, is that when you wanted to get into the business, from the age of 10 or
well, let me tell you something. I remember being like, I was in 5th grade, my school teacher's like, now we're getting real here, guys. Okay. So this is some true shit right here. I'm like 10 years old. The teacher's like, write down 3 things you want to be when you grow up. And I wrote down pro football player, pro wrestler, and rock star. And he's like, oh, these aren't realistic. And I says, well, did you write down 5th grade teacher when you were a little boy? And of course, he didn't like that shit. And fast forward, years forward in my life, okay, you're looking at a dude he struggled with alcohol, okay, basically living a rough life, man. I've always been a brawler, and I started drinking pretty heavy in my 20s, and it was starting to hold me back, and anyways, I got past that, thank God. And I started kind of making things happen. I was always the guy who could, hey, dude, that video, that's like me walking into Walmart. When I was in my 20s, it was worse. I'm not kidding you. I was the life of the party. I really was. And I enjoyed being that guy, but I was always, at the party and always tearing it up. And the next morning, I'd have all these dreams I'd talk about. Next morning, I'd wake up with the headache and go to my day job, and nothing had ever come of it. So finally I got past alcohol. That's kind of another story. And I started getting on with my life, and I got a bad injury. I broke my arm longboard, and I ride these big, long skateboards, been doing it for years, riding down trails on mountains. Anyways, I broke my arm pretty good, and I couldn't play guitar. I've been a musician. That was another thing I talked about doing, but never really followed through with, because I was always drunk. And, I couldn't play guitar, and it just hit me. I remember I'm like, flashback to being 10, fucking pro football player, pro wrestler, rock star, okay? I was a foreman, like a construction foreman at the time, and I didn't see that on my list, And that's when I realized, fuck this. I'm going after my dream again. And so I started my band up. And that's pretty much kind of how the legend of Tombstone Jesus. Now, how I got my name Tombstone Jesus, we're going to go back a few more years. I'm drinking all the time. And the local bar where I was like the local Yoko was the closest place to the cabin. I lived up in the mountains. There's an actor, his name's Robert Redford. You may have heard of him. He owns a ski resort right there called Sundance, and so the bar there, the local drinking hole, was called the Owl Bar. And this is, shit, back in the 90s, there wasn't a lot of guys rocking beards back then, but I was, and I had the long hair and the beard, and every time I'd go in there, the dude up playing music up there would stop playing. He'd say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, Jesus just entered the building, and I'd kind of laugh and whatever, and when I'd leave, he'd stop playing and say I left. So this guy just starts calling me Jesus, and I'm not really digging it, but after a couple years, everybody, hey Jesus, hey Jesus, hey Jesus, and they're giving you beers and you're friends with everybody, you just kind of start answering. But I was always a wrestling fan, and when dudes would get out of hand at that bar, I'd tell them, hey, watch it, know your role. I'll come over there and tombstone your ass. And I'd threaten to tombstone people all the time. Well, my lead guitarist was up there partying with me, and I was threatening to tombstone some guy in the bar, and he just yelled out, "Tombstone Jesus," and he pointed right at me, and he says, "That's the name of our band." And I says, "That's going to be the name of me wrestling too, buddy." And so it started out as we got the band going, started doing the music. We ended up moving to the local town so we could be seeing the local city, which is Salt Lake City. So I'm like, got this band going up in the cabin way up in the mountains. We're practicing like 8 hours a day, just tearing it up, getting all this music together, take our show to the city. And we took off, man. We took off. And so Tombstone Jesus is basically a kick-ass rock band. I started doing some comedy and some stuff on YouTube. Everybody out there, go subscribe to my YouTube channel. I haven't done much on it lately, but there is some gems and some comedy. There's some wrestling, tons of music. Yeah. It's a rabbit hole. Go fall down it. Enjoy yourselves.
I actually subscribed today, dude. I subscribed today.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm going to get some more stuff on there. But the way it all worked out is now my band's getting around. We're playing all the clubs. And I got a show booked with this other band, and their guitarist was like really good. He's like one of the best guitarists in the country, I dare say. And we played our set, and he jumped up there and was like, "Hey, man, I want to be in your band, you know?" And I'm like, I just was a little angry at one of my guitarists. I'm like, "You're hired." And he was from Georgia. He's all, "One other thing, man, I'm a pro wrestler." He's like, "I wear a mask. Nobody knows it." He says, I think you'd be good at it." And I told him, "Brother, I've been waiting my whole life for this." So I scratched off pro wrestler. I never got to be a pro football player. And I got down 2 out of 3. You know, that's where we're at right now. And thank God I aged bad. Right? What's that, my man?
Meatloaf said it himself. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right? I mean, come on.
Exactly.
So how long have you been wrestling for then now?
It's like been 11 or 12 years, I want to say now.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky enough to, I hit the indie scene like a freight train, and I've just always been able to connect with the people, you know, and I had a lot of fans that enjoyed my YouTube. They enjoyed my music, and once I started wrestling, I mean, let's just say that's my favorite thing to do in the whole universe, okay? To be able to beat the shit out of someone and not go to jail, it's as good as it gets, you know. I love pro wrestling. And all jokes aside, I love connecting with my fans, and the little ones really love Tombstone, and that was something I didn't see coming. And once it kind of worked out that way, I definitely I love my Tombstoners.
Well, I mean, would you, obviously, when the world opens up, would you ever consider coming out to the UK and wrestling on the UK industry?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. You know, I want to take this thing as far as I can. That is the plan. Spread some music along the way. And, you know, like I say, I age in badass years, so I'm just peaking as far as that goes. I got blood type AK-47. I got a son that come out of nowhere. Well, it's been like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I guess he's just here to remind me that I am mortal and I do make mistakes, because he's definitely one of the biggest ones I've ever made. But all jokes aside, Otto Von Clutch, well, he's my boy. I can't deny it. So.
He's great. That match that you guys have, the therapy match that you guys have, is fantastic, and his promo work is unreal. Like the promos that he's cutting, the kind of the tears that he's shedding in that match, it's unreal. It really is. It really is good. Like, did you guys did you work on
real,
the
but it
idea,
is
like,
real. That's the whole thing, you know. I mean, me and him is like I don't know how to explain it. Whenever we team up, no one can beat us. But you know, can we get out of the arena without beating the shit out of each other? Usually ends up being the question. So, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I can't travel with the kid. He's a nightmare. He's always whining, always complaining, wanting another Happy Meal. I mean, Jesus, he's always putting me to my just, you know, it's kind of like Homer and Bart. I mean, I just choke him. I can't tell you how many times. And then, you know, he's got a smart mouth, and you know, he's a good kid. You know, I mean, I love to hate him. You know, I don't know what else to say. I don't know. I'll tell you the story. I was wrestling. I was on a 5-on-5 match in Salt Lake City. And there's this blonde kid over there looking like he's, you know, I mean, just the kid's got more energy than anything I've ever seen. And I finally square off in the ring with him. You know, it's on YouTube. You guys will have to dig it up. But, you know, I mean, it's like I started moving the same and kind of some mannerisms, you know, and next thing I know, this kid starts yelling, "Dad, you're my dad." And I'm like, "What the hell?" And he's like, "You're my dad." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And he's like, "Yes, you are." And so we're going back and forth, and I end up finishing him off and sending him on his way. And then a couple shows later, he shows up out of nowhere with the microphone, kind of gets involved in one of my matches and drops his mom's name and starts talking about 1989 in Los Angeles. And I thought this was all a joke until he dropped his mother's name and a few times, and certain things on the calendar started lining up, you know, where, hey, this could be a possibility. And so I'm like, look, you know, if you think you're my son, if you're tough enough to beat me in the ring, we'll have a match. If you can beat the old man, if you can prove you got enough AK-47 in you to actually beat me, I'll take the DNA test. You know, and okay, that's the deal, right? So next show, whatever, the fight's booked, me and Otto, my supposed son, first ever DNA match in the history of the world. And I beat the little shit, okay? End of story. He couldn't beat his old man. And I'm on my way out of there trying to celebrate, and his mother shows up out of nowhere. I ain't seen this woman in 29 years. She hops on the mic, starts saying this and that, hops in the ring and starts beating the shit out of me, okay? Well, my wife, she runs merch. My wife.
Oh.
It's all right, he'll pop back. There he is.
Anyways, she's over there selling, guys, you can see the theme here, Tombstone Jesus merch. Bring that up later.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
a table, and here she sees this woman beating the shit out of me. So she gets in the ring, and these two have a Jerry Springer. I am not shitting you. Here's Otto's mom and my wife are rolling around on the ground, grabbing each other's hair, and I'm just like, holy shit. The whole place is chanting Jerry Springer. And while I'm preoccupied with what's going on here, Otto KOs me with one of those goddamn kicks. He had a nurse he brought in from Los Angeles, and they cut a lock of my hair and they stole my DNA. So turns out, yeah, I'm the father. He's my kid. He put my DNA in some type of data, and I got kids popping up every week now. Somehow I found out I supposedly got a child's 8 years younger than me. Okay, what the hell? We're looking into that. Turns out I knocked up the babysitter. Okay, so I mean, it's terrible.
So little Tombstone Jesus was a real hussy back in the day, then, eh? He was getting around and spreading his seed.
Well, you know, it was the 80s.
The decade of decadence. Yeah, very good.
I mean, I plead the fifth on all that. But no, all jokes aside, I mean, the kid hits like a freight train. Okay, he's fast. The kid definitely has AK-47 in his blood. He's got the charisma. He's got all that, but the attitude isn't quite there. You know, he's my little bipolar bear. All right, you know, I love him, but I mean, my God, you never know when this kid's gonna flip out. And he's acts really entitled. You know, he keeps complaining. He thinks I owe him or his mom like $50,000 in back child support, and I owe him 50,000 back ass whoopings, and he's only got about 10 of them. So, you know, we got like thousands of ass whoopings before I even break even with this kid. And then when he's done getting his ass whoopings, then his mama can pay me for the upraising. You know what I mean?
Hopefully. Hell yeah.
We briefly chatted the other night, and you told me the story, the myth, the legend of Tombstone Jesus. So, please share that story again for the listeners of Ringsiders. The myth, the legend.
The legend of Tombstone Jesus.
Absolutely, yeah.
About the
cool story
in the tomb.
Absolutely, yeah, that's the one.
Whoa. All right, this is what's in the works, boys. Comic book coming your way. All right. This is the legend of Tombstone Jesus. Okay. Now you're gonna have to go page to page here with me and grasp the badassness of this story. Okay. But let's just say page 1, comic book. You got little, you know, Juan Benitos, whatever this guy's little kid's name is, down on the southernmost tip of Mexico, somewhere down in the southernmost tip, little seedy border town down there between Mexico and Guatemala. And there's a little child. He's praying to Tombstone Jesus, and above him there's a big demon lurking over this child. Okay. Page 2. Turn the page. You got the local booker of the local Lucha Libre gym down there, and he's talking to the trainer, and they're talking about the up and coming Lucha Libre, who's their up and comer, man. He's been doing everything he can to be the best wrestler he can be, and this guy's their next maybe somebody, you know, and they got a show coming up. Okay, now turn the page. Now we're a crow flying over a cemetery in a ghost town in a desert. Okay. And down in this cemetery is a tomb. And this crow's he's got a piece of paper, a message in his beak. And he comes and drops it, and it goes inside the tomb, which is the lair of Tombstone Jesus. Okay. Next page, Tombstone's inside his lair, hanging out, doing what he does, lifting weights, writing music, whatever. In comes the message, in comes the prayer. You see Tombstone seal up an envelope shaped like a cross. Turn the page. The promoter in Mexico is waking up. He gets out, he yawns, he lights a cigarette, he goes out on his porch, he turns around, and there's the envelope shaped like a cross on his doorstep, on his door, and he drops his cigarette, says, "Holy shit," opens it up, the trainer comes running, and the booker knows the deal. He is coming, book it. All right. Back in the tomb, the door opens up. Out comes Tombstone Jesus, bat out of hell, right out of the cemetery. Hits the cemetery gates, disappears. Turn the page, reappears in the cemetery in the little Mexican town. I'll shorten it up just a little bit, but Tombstone Jesus flies under the radar. He only wrestles in the most underground of underground towns, okay? And all the bookers know the deal. If you get the cross, he's coming. You're going to have the show of your life. But you better have some gold, because he takes payment in gold. That's the front story. The back story, the reason why Tombstone only goes to these little seedy towns, and the only reason why he wrestles in these little underground venues, is because he's a demon slayer. And it's because the child prayed to him, or the woman, or whoever's being tormented by the demon. So Tombstone rolls into town. The booker books the deal. Tombstone ends up fighting the lucha libre, the luchador, who's the up and comer, and Tombstone puts him over. And from there, it's the golden ticket. This guy goes all the way to the top. He gets the golden gift. Tombstone disappears until another little something goes down in the Philippines or in China or in South America, and some other little seedy deal. The bookers know the deal. If he comes, you're going to have the show of your life, but you better have some gold. There might be some time when they don't have the gold and somebody loses a tooth, but that's the legend of Tombstone Jesus right there.
Hell yeah.
And that's what's going to be the comic book, my man. And it should be a goddamn Netflix series if I have
It
my.
should be everything. It should be a movie. It's
such
a layered idea, you know?
Where's the movie? I want to see the movie. That's
Well, I would like to see it be a series. Oh, and the other thing is, like, people try to share video of him, you know, to the WWE, but the footage will always screw up. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's so cool.
It's set up to be a series, so that's well. And when the story's been around, and when River made the comic book cover, I had to talk to him, because I was like, I almost felt like someone might have told him something, you know. It was like, wow, you really nailed that character. And but you know, that's the plan as far as that goes. But in the meantime, in the real world, you know, I'm looking to go devastate with my son. If we can function and manage to function long enough, I don't think there's a team on this planet that could take us. And you know, I want to make up for some time.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little proud of the kid. You know, like I was proud that he became a wrestler on his own. You know, and so he's, you know, I love to hate him, but you know, I appreciate everything you guys are doing as far as pushing the Twitter. Let me tell you about the Twitter thing, guys. I had like 12 followers. I hadn't opened my Twitter account for 12 years. I don't know if I'd ever made it. Sweet. I know I shared some videos on there years ago. So when things started blowing up, I got my Twitter account going. Let's just say that. So anybody out there, follow me on Twitter at Tombstone.
Isn't it crazy how that one video, that video of you walking to the ring and stuff, kind of just, it's funny how things blow up, isn't it, really, on Twitter? Like, you know, just.
It is. And, you know, there's a few of those. I should make a medley of the boys in the back call me the Michael Jackson of wrestling, because I am the king of pop. And the pop's what we call when you walk through there and the crowd does.
Yeah.
That was a good one. There's some other ones that are even better, I must say. And I live for that pop. And that's just me connecting with the people, you know, and you know, and there's a lot of people in that arena that, you know, watched me beat up the bully in high school when I was in 3rd grade. So, you know, the legend's been going on for a long, long time.
Well, speaking of the legend as well, I mean, I've got to ask you about Devotion Championship Wrestling, because we're hearing a lot of good things about that as well, man. I mean, tell us about that.
Let me tell you something. Here in Utah, wrestling had pretty much died. I don't want to say it was dead, but it really had not a lot really going on. And along came Manny Lemons. Anybody out there, look him up. He's pretty much the co-founder of Devotion Championship Wrestling. He's an up-and-comer training at the Nightmare Factory, and you'll probably see him on AEW pretty soon. Excuse me. Manny gave me a call a couple years ago and told me he was starting this company, and I was like, all right, man. I couldn't make the first show, but the second show we just slammed it. I mean, the house was just packed and really never looked back. So I mean, I joined with them in I think their first show was in December, and my first show was in January. And in the meantime, he's just made so much happen, being part of the Al Snow Wrestling Academy. Vince Russo writes and produces our show, guys. So
I was just about to ask about Vince Russo. Actually, I was about to ask, how's it working for a guy that's been in the business and is a well-established name writer? You know.
Yeah, we got to get to Vince, because I got to talk on Vince for sure. I mean, especially someone who was a fan like myself. So many things for me. The first big name I got to wrestle with, I got to team up with Rhino. Okay, and me and him main evented, and I've got to work with a lot of my heroes, and I've got to do a lot of really cool things. And every now and again, I get to step back and pinch myself. And having Vince Russo write for me, I pinch myself. You know, that's a big deal. But all Manny Lemons making all this stuff happen. And so I just was fortunate for him, or fortunate for me, that he came along the time he did, where I could go ahead and Salt Lake City is really where Tombstone Jesus is from. You know, that's where the legend is. And for me, that's by far the best platform I could have. That's where most of I got fans all over the world for sure, but I mean, most of my fan base is right there in Salt Lake. And so all I've ever needed was an opportunity for people to see me. That's how it was so nice for the Twitter thing to come about, and to get a lot of those, you know, kind comments from a lot of people I don't know, and a lot of, hey, you know, let me tell you, anytime somebody wants to compare me to Shawn Michaels or a Jim Duggan, okay, it's not going to hurt my feelings.
Why would it? They're two great wrestlers.
Shawn Michaels, right? I mean, anytime I get compared to Shawn, it's just an honor. You know, I've been called the male version of Shawn Michaels, and I joke about that before, you know. But all jokes aside, Shawn Michaels is the fucking man.
He really
is. You know, I've been watching you since, hey, you're the man.
I'd argue that Shawn Michaels would be on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling, really, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. You know, and like I said, I mean, it was like, for me, we had Hogan, we had Flair, we had the Macho Man, you know, Shawn Michaels right there.
Yeah.
So anytime I get compared to anybody like that, it's always an honor. And all the kind words that was said on Twitter, you know, that big blow up, getting a lot of that recognition, and kind of, you know, I mean, a lot of people have heard of me. A lot of people I have kind of been that legend that just kind of purposely slide under the radar, so to speak. But the workers know, anyone who's been on a card with me know, and it was just awesome to have something like that come out of a platform like Twitter that I'm never even on. So my son actually called me. It was, I think, last Thursday night. He started giving me shit, and I thought he was fucking with me like he always is, you know. And the kid ribs me like I couldn't tell you how many times a day. And he loves to do it on the phone because I can't get my hands on him, you know. So, and now he's like, he sent me the link, and I was humbled. So
yeah, we've got a lot of friends over here in the UK that are now Tombstone Jesus fans. You know,
I want to get some merch out there. I want to get out there and I want to wrestle in the UK. And I
In
want to
fact,
spread some
could we ask you to say hello to our friend Jordan, because he's a new convert to the Tombstone Jesus following too. So if you could just say hi, Jordan.
Jordan, brother, get a hold of me. Find me. Let's get you some merch. Let's get you Mountain Metal Muscle, brother.
Goddamn
Let
right.
me tell you something, Jordan. You are a tombstoner, and we are family. We all have one thing in common. We got the AK-47 running through our veins.
Hell yeah,
It's
man.
in you. Nothing can stop.
Right on. Well, look, before we let you go, man, tell us what's in the future for Tombstone Jesus and Otto, and what's going to happen in the near future and things. Are we putting on shows again? You know,
this goddamn pandemic on. You know, one way or the other, we got to get control on this, so I can get on the road and really get out there and travel and wrestle like I want to. I want to go on. You know, like I say, I feel like me and my son could probably best any tag team in the world. You know, just give us a shot, book us. We'll entertain the hell out of you, beat up your local best team, and we'll probably end up beating the shit out of each other too. But you know, that's life. But that's what I'd like to see happen. I want to get out. I want to get out to my fans. I want to get out in front of a live audience. I'll work anywhere, but for me, you know, it's kind of like showering with the wetsuit on. You know, I mean, I want my fans, and we need them close. So, you know, just praying, hoping for this all to pass, where we can get to where we can do what we do in front of people again, the way we need to. And I would love to come out to the UK, and I would love to wrestle out there. Let me tell you.
We would love that. We would be front row. I mean, we would be there. There's no doubt about that. We would be front row wherever you are in the UK. And like we said, hopefully next year we're doing WrestleMania. We're going to try and get out to Utah. We're going to definitely come and see you and hang out.
Guys, come out here. I'll take you to Zion's. We'll go to Vegas. We'll have a good time. We'll hang out with my son. You'll love it. You'll love it.
Hell yeah. Now, obviously, before we let you go as well, tell everybody where they can find that merchandise, because that is one hell of a badass T-shirt.
All right, guys, get a hold of me on Tombstone Jesus on Facebook, as Tombstone Jesus is rolling on Twitter now. Tombstone Jesus is on Instagram as well. You guys can message me anywhere for that, and we can ship you out some merch. We got some dope hats. We got tank tops. We got ladies tops. We got ladies hats. You know, get you some Tombstone Jesus gear and be the coolest dude in your city.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I tell you right now, dude, I get paid in 6 days. So I will be shooting you a message, and I will be getting more of those T-shirts.
Merch is coming your way, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. Yep.
Hey, everybody, follow me on all those platforms I just said as well. There's only one Tombstone Jesus. I seen there's a Tombstone Jesus Stan on Twitter that cracked me up.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy, my name's been locked up for years, and there's only one. So, yeah, follow me everywhere, people. Looking forward to connecting with all of you.
Well, one last thing as well, obviously, is I would love to stay in touch and get you back on again if that's cool with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Also, guys, Devotion Championship Wrestling on Fight TV, Devotion Championship Wrestling on Amazon Prime, and also on YouTube. And guys, there's, you know, it's a weekly episode that was written by and produced by Vince Russo. And so for the last year, Vince Russo has been writing me in his television show. Everybody definitely check it out. It's good stuff. Let me tell you real quick, working with Vince Russo is a dream come true. Yeah. And he's one of the coolest guys, most approachable, nicest guys you'll ever meet. And I love the dude. So I'm a Russo guy. I'll tell you that
me too,
right
yeah.
now.
I was always a fan of
we are as well.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely Russo guy. I've got his book at home somewhere, at my parents' house somewhere as well. Yeah, big Russo fan. I think he gets a lot of undeserved stick. He's a great guy. For
me, when we talked about all that wrestling and Flair in the day in the 80s, Well, as far as I'm concerned, it peaked with the Attitude Era.
I would agree with you quite hard there. That's a hard agree from me. Yep.
Hell yeah. But dude, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, we'll stay in touch because we definitely want to make this happen again.
Love you guys. We'll be talking to you soon, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, buddy.
Tombstone Jesus.
Merch coming your way. Love you. Take care.